crew. Deep space. Deep space. Astral avalanche.
Okay.
Decide, slaughter, digestion, obliterate,
One ichor. Not as much as I could ask for. Okay, Rebuke of the Vol. That is an interesting choice.
Just got some in from
What do we get? One whole rune graft, and it's oh, divine. Okay, all right. Okay, I'll take it. Okay, we're gonna go for shields. We're gonna go reduced chaos, reduce crits, reduce mana, more caster, more fizz. I'm gonna try and hit a shield.
She will soon bear fruit.
That's pretty good. We're gonna roll a couple gloves here. Try to get a little bit of an upgrade. These are pretty mediocre. So.
The Genesis tree accepts your offering.
Is not an upgrade. No boots.
The Genesis tree accepts your offering.
Rend. Asunder. Another failure.
Another iteration!
21-23. Well, it is somewhat unfortunate.
irrelevant.
And honk. Gloves. Wow.
Irrelevant.
To me, exile, quickly!
Come along. No. It's also a bottom pregnant, so I have to swap both of them. Wow. Alright, Elder's dead.
When I'm ready,
And there's Shaper. Alright. Surely. Watcher's Eye. Why is it never a Watcher's Eye, dude? It's not even... And probably would have been deathless if I didn't lose the thing. Oh hey, oh it is the green belt. That could still be cool. Yeah. Well, not Vol. 20.
Oh.
Yay. Hey, I did get it. Oh. Okay. Sure. Yeah, that's cool. Take that. Alright. What is up, folks? Back again with another Night Elementalist build update. Have successfully gathered all 4 of our voidstones, and honestly, we've been moving along pretty well. I would say we really kind of hit our stride partway between the 2 and 4 voidstone run. Kind of just hit a good enough set of gear. We got ourselves a nice little obliteration, and we've really kind of just been cooking since then on. We're 95 currently, a little bit of the way to 96, and yeah, things have been going great. Taking a look at the gear, we finally got our Eldritch Implicits for the most part, generally done. A little chest piece upgrade as well too. I'd say this was a pretty huge buff for us. Really helped out quite a bit defensively. I don't know about all of you, but I very much undersold the benefit of this mastery. This essentially just doubling armor and ES coming from the body armor is pretty absurd. This giving like another 500 flat ES and almost 2500 armor that's been scaled up with some of the other armor values. We are not running determination or anything like that, and still sitting here with 11,500 armor. It's pretty good. And then as you can see here too, we kind of just pushed up our effective health pool quite a bit through this armor and ES gear, just trying to craft up some decent life res stuff. We're at 4,800 life and then almost 3,200 ES, which means that our total hit pool is doing quite well, and we're sitting at almost 8 regen 2. So we have pushed up a pretty good amount of total defenses, and we're obviously not the tankiest build in the world. We're sitting here, and then 47 block, 75 spell block right now. Attack block obviously could be much higher. Been trying to get the Red Nightmare. Have not successfully gotten the Red Nightmare. Funnily enough, here we have a Fallborn Red Dream. I've also gotten a normal Red Dream as well too, but alas, get the Nightmare to get closer to capping our block, but that's all right. Since we have it open, taking a look at the passive tree, there have been some changes since we last took a look at this. Most notably, I dropped this right side stuff here for just generally other things. Whispers of Doom, this additional curse for being able to do the elemental weakness, was a lot of damage, but spending the extra points to get over there was taking its toll. So I have not farmed 3 golden oils yet for the anoint. Funnily enough, I'm just using Deadly Draw because this bow, notable, damaging elements dealing damage 10% faster is actually just quite good, and in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty cheap. So this is, funnily enough, a very good anoint for us. But prior to that, I decided I'm just going to use it to Witchery's Damning. Don't really need anything absurd from the ring slot right now, and this saved us quite a few points. So, ended up working through that, dropped some other odds and ends nodes, including some of these Ignite ones, and this old Firewalker sets of nodes. The biggest change was we did farm a 9 passive minion cluster. I've probably dropped / entered like 60, 70 large clusters, something like that at this point. And the best I've gotten is a 9 passive large, which, you know, at the end of the day, it's still pretty good. It's 1 extra passive point, but it is a passive point that at least does something, because we are grabbing spiritual aid, so it's not the end of the world. But we did get our large cluster, rolled it just so we could make sure we have primordial bond in this first slot here. Nothing crazy. And then we have 2 mediums. The most important one here is, of course, fan the flames, so we have our ignite prolif, which means that we're able to drop ignite prolif from our 6th link. And otherwise, these are just some generally good nodes for dealing damage faster, just pretty much some generic damage. Good. Aside from that, like I said, we grabbed spiritual aid nodes. They end up being very beneficial and typically want to move over to them once you get your large cluster, so small nodes can actually do something of value. And then just in general, for dot, there's not a ton of overwhelming scaling for it on the tree. So nodes, these 20% and 16% nodes, just good. Definitely good to take a look at those and get those swapped in once you get a cluster set up. Horror links, like I said, we swapped out of Ignite Prolif, we just put Swift Affliction in instead. So our added fire, burning damage, combustion, Swift Affliction, and a deadly. As I noted, we got the Obliteration, which I think this was probably the biggest change to the build that actually made it nice to play. This plus Fan the Flames, giving just global explosions at Ignite Prolif, made mapping infinitely easier. So I got lucky and it's just kind of randomly dropped, but you could farm. I don't actually know where the Obliteration card drops. Let me see. Nowhere? Am I stupid? Maybe. Okay. I'm gonna give up on that because I don't remember the name of the div card that drops the Obliteration. But I just got it to drop. You could use the Genesis tree, although I've not tried to see how likely that is. Alternatively, once you are doing Searing Exarch, because it is a div card set, you can just click on Exarch altars for unique weapon div cards, and then you are pretty likely to get that stacked up reasonably quickly. Other major thing that we did get here is a +1 Fizz shield. We got it fractured from the Genesis tree, which made crafting it quite nice. Obviously, this is only okay because we have a T6 chance to block. Obviously, we would want that to be as high as possible. Chance to block is something that is quite eye level dependent. So when you are crafting your endgame version of the shield, you're going to want eye level 86 spaces, because 86 is the only thing that can actually roll D1 chance to block. For the sort of endgame version of this, I think we are going to be back to recombinating, and you'll likely need to just roll +1 Fizz by alt spamming, and then also D1 chance to block on another shield, slam them together, and then hope that you can get both. Once you do that, most likely what you'll want to do is, I believe it's Crusader? if I remember correctly. Crusader just has a single shield prefix for increased damage per chance to block attack damage. It's probably the best prefix. Crusader Exalted slam that to finish out the prefixes, and then your typical prefixes can't be changed. Build Exalts, build Chaos, whatever it might be. You could also reforge Caster if you want a little bit of spell crit for EO uptime. Otherwise, the main big thing that we are doing is we do have a weapon and a small gem swap for bossing. So Obliteration, of course, is great for mapping, not a very good bossing skill. I did not decide to go about the option of crafting a good scepter. Reminder, Ignite does not scale off of spell damage, so spell damage implicits don't do anything. So if you are crafting an endgame weapon, you will want a scepter for that, so the implicit can actually do something of value. Aside from that, I dropped a Rebuke of the Vaal, and I said, hey, this seems funny. I'm going to go down the Spellblade route, and so this is what I end up swapping. So if I am going to fight bosses, Nessie, I swap into this, where I will manually cast my Molten Shell. We'll put in a Vaal Reap, so I can get the additional blood charges for the extra damage there. And then I swap my Combustion for a Spellblade. And this is probably like a good 20 to 30% more DPS that I can get for this. So it's a little annoying, but in the grand scheme of things, it is quite a bit more damage. And I much prefer doing this than trying to, mess with crafting some other junk. But overall, this character has been great. Spent a little bit more time than I probably normally would between 2 and 4 stones, but that was just because I was having a good time mapping, doing some expedition and harvest, farming and failing to get my 21 Vaal Reap from Alva. But overall, I do highly recommend this build. Very smooth starter, continues to be very smooth progression. Elementalist is, of course, quite strong, and you can pretty much pivot to almost anything you might want to. Game. So, if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know, and great day.